from camp, but you got me thinking about just how we fix the Warriors. And I don't get to run, point with you all the time, but is Kuminga untouchable to you? Is he Elliot Ness, or are you like Guru for the right guy? I'll do it. And the reason I gotta, and we'll take Big Smoothie's call here in a second. The reason I'm bringing that up is you were like, Guru, those guys you mentioned, Jimmy Butler, and I'm getting a lot of that. They're too old, but those are the type of guy, even PG-13, if that interests you.
He's like 34.
But it's not about that. It's about the next year or two. And those dudes are still kind of at the top of their game. So I ain't worried about 5 years from now. It's coinciding with Steph and Dre and Kerr. Can we get those guys, put it together, and go out and try to catch Dallas, because they're representing the Western Conference in the NBA Finals.
Okay,
I think
let's talk about this realistically for a second. One, it's a stretch to think that the Warriors could turn Jimmy Butler into a title. You're going to add 35-year-old Jimmy Butler, and suddenly you're going to win a title.
Well, real quick, not to interrupt, but I've been doing it all day. We saw at the halfway through the season, Joey Lightyears called Jeannie Buss to see the availability for 40-year-old LeBron James. Yeah, I'll just leave that there. And I know Butler ain't okay.
I hate that idea too.
That's why I brought it up.
Okay, so let's talk about Kuminga for a second. He's 21 now. At 19, how much better is he at 21 than he was at 19?
His handles have gotten a little better, but he's
worlds better at 21 than he was at 19. And he's going to be worlds better at 23 than he is at 21.
All right.
So why you're going to take arguably maybe the NBA's greatest wing athlete, and you're going to pawn him at 21 for 35-year-old Jimmy Butler, hoping to catch lightning in a bottle and win one more title?
Jimmy Butler can still be the best player in a playoff series, Larry. And now you put him with, he's not just putting everybody get on my back and watch my knees, go out because I'm carrying everybody. No, he's going to be with Dre and Steph. I love Kuminga and what he can be, but Larry, we're talking about 3 years. His handles got to improve.
But let's talk about realistically what it's going to take. He makes $51 million. That means you're going to have to send them somewhere, somewhere either 47 million or more, or let's say 53 million or less.
You got to get creative.
You got to get creative. Yeah. That's a ton of cash. Yeah. That means it's not just Kuminga. Kuminga makes like $8 million. So then obviously it's Wiggins. He makes 24.
Well, Kuminga's about to get a payday.
Right, but if you're moving him right now, aren't you moving him at his $8 million $8 million salary slot? Either way, he makes 8. And Wiggins makes 24. So, now you're at 32, but you got to get to 50. So, I mean, that means Looney and Peyton.
Okay, keep going. That's what you're staring. I believe that's what the Warriors are staring at, Larry.
And what kind of team are you going to have?
Well, a better team.
You get rid of Kuminga and Moody and they're going to want Kuminga and Moody and Wiggins and Looney and Peyton and Picks, and that's all worth 35-year-old Jimmy Butler?
Now, when you say it that way, that's
what it's going to take.
Okay. Karl Anthony Towns, I don't think it would take all that. PG-13.
Now, Karl Anthony Towns is a little bit different. He's 29,
and I would prefer him over Butler if somehow you could pry him away from Minnesota.
I suggest Karl Anthony Towns last year. Nobody liked that idea.
But Dub Nation thought they still were a player for a chip. Nobody saw what just transpired. The Warriors not even making it and getting out-physicaled by the Sacramento Kings in front of the world. And now that the NBA's not calling fouls, I'm more concerned about our Warriors than I've ever been with physicality. So when you bring up, and I love these guys that you're bringing up, Moody and Kuminga, the one thing that I'm ready to go the other way on and put them and include them in a deal, Larry, is timing. Curry, it's timing. We got to strike now. And Curry's still playing basketball. He could get you 26, 27 points a game. And I'm ready. You can go over so many names of, Karl Anthony Towns is the leader on my score, the leader of the scoreboard for me in regard to, if you say, Goo, I could get you one guy and it might cost you some picks and a couple youngsters, that's where I start. Because he would be a better version of himself with the nucleus of Dre, Steph, and Steve Kerr, man.
I don't think that it's going to take. It's very unique what kind of player is going to get them over the top. Karl Anthony Towns could.
Jared Allen?
He's younger. Jared Allen's a defensive player. I like Jared Allen.
I do too.
And if I could get him for Wiggins, I would do it, and that salary does match. But I just don't think that, like, if you don't win a title or get to the finals, man, you really are hurting your franchise long term because you're trading all your tradable assets.
The risk of doing business, but
I mean, realistically,
Steph needs another scorer. This team needs another score, a bucket getter, Larry.
Is it possible that it's just over? I know that's a tough. I know that's a tough.
Nahegan, what's up, Carter? Telling Nahegan, hey, forget the ratings. I felt good. Do you think Joe Lacob is telling Steph that? Or Steph, no, like, you got to go down firing. And if that costs you the future of some of these young guys, who I don't believe Kuminga is that guy, like, Kuminga could be the next Scottie Pippen. But it's going to be, too long.
You would rather trade away your young core and take a chance on a 35-year-old player and maybe getting one more ring with Curry.
Because you're forgetting why. Why am I doing that? Because of Steph and Dre.
Right, but you still have to say, how realistic is it that you can get any player that gets you into the championship realm? You've watched OKC, you've watched Minnesota, you're watching Boston, you're watching Dallas. Are the Warriors a Jimmy Butler away from beating those teams in the playoffs? I don't think so.
But then what do you do? Run it back with a team that didn't make the playoffs, Larry?
Well, I
want to jump out the window if I almost hit me the other day. But I mean, come on, bud. Larry, your question, and I get it about you're trying to live life getting answers to questions that you got to earn.
I just think
so. I want to do my due diligence and feel better and sleep better and go get in and out the shower or drive to and from work knowing, hey, you know what? It might not work, but we tried. We tried to Joan Rivers this thing and give us a facelift and do something different. And if it fails, I can sleep better and look at Steph like we had a great run. And you know what, Larry, to answer your question, it's over. But we tried, not running something back where you just found out, oh my goodness, we don't have enough. That's how I live my life. That's what I'm thinking.
That's just, it's almost kind of like, coming to grips with different stages of your life. Can you handle the different stages of your life? It's like the Warriors were on top. The Warriors were a championship team. They won 4 rings.
Man.
They got that extra ring for Steph. It was against Boston a couple of years ago. They weren't one. That was the extra ring, and now you're talking about the 5th ring as one more. I don't think it's coming. I don't see the Dallas. I mean, look at Denver. Let's just take a look at Denver for a second, because Denver, in a lot of ways, is the preeminent team.
They're kryptonite to this version of the Warriors.
Every guy on their team is in the prime of their career. The Warriors don't have a single guy outside of Wiggins in the prime of their career, and they're somehow going to do better by trading away the guys that are improving dramatically, like Kuminga and Trace Jackson-Davis and Podziemski. You're going to have to move probably 3 of your 4 young guys. And
TJD is not going anywhere.
Okay, so let's say you're keeping him. So that means you're moving Pods and Moody and Kuminga and probably 2 or 3 number 1 draft choices, all for 35-year-old Jimmy Butler.
And let me, real quick here, and I love that the trifecta that you just mentioned. I don't even think that would be enough.
No, probably isn't enough.
So why? What's the goal, Larry? What do you think Steph and Joe Lacob and Mike Dunleavy are talking about right now? Like, if you're correct, then it's status quo. We just run it back and hope we make it, and Draymond doesn't get suspended for 25 games, and we're a 5th or 6th seed. I've said that to Steiny many days, like, hey, if you do that, I would get excited. Now, are you saying that's going to win you a title? I'm like, oh, boy. But
how did you build this team originally?
With homegrown star.
Through the draft.
You hit home runs.
Through the draft. Yeah. How is OKC built their team? How's Sam Presti built this team? Through the draft.
But you don't have that luxury now because the clock is ticking on Steph. And that's why I'm saying, there's
all kinds of teams that are willing to move picks in this draft. If you can identify good players in this draft, you can get them. You want a top 5 pick, you can get it. You want a top 15 pick, you can get it. You want a 2nd round pick, you can get it. It's just a matter of, do you have the conviction on somebody in this draft is going to make you a better player? I don't know. To me, they built this whole thing through the draft, and I don't believe in any shortcuts.
And now it's different, Larry. It's different.
I don't want to trade 21-year-old Jonathan Kuminga and watch him become a great wing for the next decade, all because, man, you thought you didn't have the confidence that his game could elevate to that point, so you pawned him.
All right, we're going to people want to talk now, but before I grab a call, Larry, we grab a call. Okay, and again, this is no shade at Kuminga, but okay, you want to watch Kuminga average 23, 24 points a game, and people are coming to Chase Center and you're not making the playoffs? Because that would be on the bingo card too. Like, is Kuminga good enough for Steph Curry to hand the baton to and be the face of the franchise? I'm a little skeptical right now. I need to see. He's great. He's got all the athletic talent and the P-word potential. I get it. But I feel like people are talking about Kuminga like he's the next Kevin Durant. And I got questions on how easily, if he's the 1 or 1A, can he get, you know what I mean? Like,
I hear you.
So what are we talking about? That's what's scary.
How did you get here? You got here because you drafted Draymond Green at 35.
You did.
And if you're going to get here again, you're going to have to go find the next Draymond Green at 35. And you're going to have to hit in the draft. And there are no shortcuts. And I just don't believe that suddenly you're going to get 35-year-old Jimmy Butler, and suddenly with Jimmy Butler, one guy in his prime, well, now you're going to have that one guy because you're going to have to move Wiggins. So you're going to have nobody in their prime and Jimmy Butler added to this mix, and suddenly you're going to take down a Denver
we're talking
team
about a 2 or 3
has 7 guys in the 25 to 29 range, which is like the super prime for an NBA player. I think we're kidding ourselves.
Yeah, and you know what? It's hard when you kind of just say Jimmy Butler coming back and player A, B, and C leaving off the Warriors, because obviously it's going to take more than that. And they know they need more than Jimmy Butler. But I'm just talking about not making the playoffs can never happen again while you have Steph Curry. And if he pulled up on